Good morning, Northshore. It's Wednesday, May 13th, and it's a little bit cloudy out there today. I think the weather hasn't decided exactly what it's going to do, but my understanding is it's going to be sunny a little bit later. So let's have another fabulous Northshore day. Today, it's my absolute pleasure to talk about the CP and Dorothy Johnson Awards, which are coming up tomorrow night. This humanitarian award has gone on for a number of years in the North Shore School District, and it was put into place to honor those humanitarian traits that are so important for citizens today, students and staff and communities of today and tomorrow. And such a tradition of honoring these important traits here in the North Shore School District in our house. We really value these humanitarian traits. So it's my real pleasure to have the opportunity to have two winners with us this morning, a former winner and a future winner. So I would start with Woodinville High School teacher, Kobi Dillon. And Kobi is a personal finance and business law teacher. He also, unbelievably, is a two-time CP and Dorothy Johnson Award winner, both in elementary and at that time, junior high in North Shore. And just this morning, I received some very important intel, Kobi. I heard you were one of the fastest 200-meter runners in high school and still hold the 100-meter, 400-meter, 4x100, and 4x400 relay records in our track program at Woodinville High School. So a very fast Falcon. But anyhow, Kobi, it's a pleasure to have you this morning. And just want to hear from you a little bit about what the CP and Dorothy Johnson Award meant to you and means to you today.
Sure. Well, first, thank you very much for having me on this morning. Pleasure to join you. And that track kid, completely different human being. But no, that was fun a long time ago. The CP Johnson Award, I think, is something that has always stuck with me. My mom, I got to give her a shout out, proudly displays, obviously, the certificate that we received. And it's a reminder, I think, not of what we wake up and say we're going to plan and we're going to go do A, B, and C, meaning be good and advocate and be a good member of our community. It's something we wake up and we simply go through the process of being ourselves, and then I think, firmly standing up for what we believe in, helping those who maybe need a voice, an advocate in their court. It isn't one of those things. I remember, Ms. Johnson talking about the award is simply something that it comes to people, and when you're in the situation, you do what you're supposed to do. It isn't something where you plan on being a good individual, and that's something that I try to bring into the classroom, every single day with my students and the fellow teachers, administration, everybody in the district. Is when the moment is right, you do what's right, and it's really as simple as that. It was very humbling to receive that award, and even today to get to talk about the incredible students that we have, the young man who I think you're going to introduce in a little bit, and talking to him a little bit this morning. It's just it's unreal to see these certain traits that naturally are in people, and they are they're strong enough to do what's right when that moment calls. So I think that's really what the CP Johnson Award has meant to me over the years, and for everybody in the future as well.
Yeah, thanks, Kobi. It really, I think, is important to celebrate and lift up those traits and values that we hold so dear, and especially during these times.
Yeah.
I think under stress, we really have an opportunity to see often our real character revealed, right? Under really difficult times. You have any thoughts on how those characteristics, the CP and Dorothy Johnson humanitarian characteristics, are important today, maybe more than ever?
Oh, I absolutely. I think the fact when you are looking for traits of somebody who values, their community, as you're talking about the advocacy, to have a young individual, anybody, a high school, middle school, elementary school, who it really is, and I know we hear this all the time, and the students are our future. They're not just our future in the workforce. They're our future with the morals and ethics that are going to be instilled in our local and national communities, and to see young students embrace these and live by these characteristics and traits, and honor those characteristics and traits without being told to do so. That's the voice of change. And that is especially today. We as adults and teachers and politicians get to talk about what we think we should do and what we need to do. But when you have a young individual who's living the way that the Johnsons recognized, right? When they're living with those characteristics and they're doing that on a daily model, they are examples. And they're leaders, they're natural leaders. And so I almost said his name, but with the individual who you're gonna introduce, I think people will follow him, and he has such an opportunity to lead and to change our community and the world. It's remarkable.
I really thank you for that, Kobi. And we often talk about our children are watching us, which is true. And especially at this time, I think we could do well by watching them. Absolutely. I think that our children, our students, whether they're in elementary, primary school, or seniors in high school, have sacrificed a great deal this spring. And perhaps their resilience and grit is something we should watch, right? Yes. So thank you, Kobi. And on that note, I want to introduce one of our winners tomorrow night that we're going to be celebrating. 8th grader from Canyon Park Middle School, 8th grader Mason Jackson. And Mason, good morning, Mason.
Good morning. How are you?
I could not be better. And I continue to be inspired by our students. What's really fun is that I know you because I had breakfast with you this year and was in your classroom in Canyon Park. And I just want to share a note for you're being recognized and were nominated for kindness, helpfulness, and patience. And you also believe in making everyone an equal member of any group and care deeply about your school. I think those are fabulous traits. Yeah. And I also understand your father works for the district as a staff member and is one of our transportation staff who's providing meals every day. So he's one of our superheroes in our staff family. So anyhow, Mason, I just want to say congratulations. And I know we're going to be honoring you tomorrow night as one of our 68 winners, and just wonder what winning the Humanitarian Award has meant for you and what your thoughts are about it.
It kind of came out of nowhere, but it was just about me accepting others and really making sure I felt like everyone was counted inside of the classroom and outside of the classroom. And even now, when we're not in the classroom, I like to just check up on people, see how they're doing, and just make sure they're having a good day.
I think that's fabulous, Mason. When you share that, why is that important to you? What do you think drives you to believe that? Because I have to say, not everyone has taken that initiative or has made those choices. So why is that so important to you?
To be honest, I'm not really sure, but I feel like it's just an important part of life. And if you're included and feeling love, then you won't be as I don't really know how to say it. You'll just be better, in a way. Yeah.
I think we can be our best people when we know that someone notices us, mm-hmm. right? That somebody sees us, and that somebody loves us. So in that purest sense. So I would agree with you. So Mason, being an 8th grader in the middle of a pandemic has to be a little unnerving. How has that worked for you?
It's good. At the beginning, it was a little weird, but then when we went into 2.0, it got a lot easier, and I'm getting really comfortable with it. So,
well, that's great. I know you're headed off to high school next year. Yeah. What are your thoughts on how to make that transition as seamless as possible? And if possible, do you have any advice for me on what we ought to do with school in the fall? Because I'm getting a lot of advice. I wonder if you had any ideas.
Well, I'm excited for high school. And I just want to dive on in because that's how I like to approach things which is really like the opposite of what like most people do. They like to ease onto it, but I just like to go in there and see what's happening. So I'm excited. And for the fall, I really don't know what we should do.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that too, right? What are when you think about the fall, what are your thoughts about it? What would be the things you'd want to pay attention to, even if you don't know what to do? Like, what are the things you think I ought to really pay attention to?
Like in school or just around me?
Around, yeah, just in general.
Just making sure people are included in things, and just knowing that someone's watching them and looking over them and caring for them.
Yeah, I think that is important, particularly when so many things have changed. I think we have to really identify the things that haven't changed, and that's we still care about each other and still stay connected. So Mason, I remember you told me that I needed to be the CEO of my weekends, right?
Yeah.
So how are you being the CEO of your spring?
Well, I'm just living it. I do whatever, not I want, but do whatever I can.
Yeah.
And just go outside when I can in my backyard or out for a run. And I like to hang around the house and hang with family.
Yeah, I think that's fabulous, Mason. Well, I'm looking forward to tomorrow evening and honoring you and the other honorees. And I just want to thank you for coming on this morning. You're an inspiration to me and to many people I know around the district and the community. So keep up the great work. And we love you. And I know that we're going to be back in school at some point. And I know you're going to continue to be successful and keep reaching out to your friends. It's so important. So thank you, Mason. We'll talk with you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. In other news, just want to remind folks that our nutrition services are still continuing. We're closing in on 140,000 meals very shortly, which is an unbelievable number of meals. And we continue to do that work, which is so important for so many families. Also want to mention that Friday morning, we're going to hear a little bit about how staff and Sandy Hayes, one of our board directors, and Jasmine, one of our family advocates, their work in terms of delivering books to families and students and how you might get involved in that work. So I'm really excited to share that story Friday morning. Finally, I really appreciate a number of you have provided articles for me or recommended topics that I might consider reading and reviewing with our senior cabinet and with our elected board of directors as we think about what we're going to be doing in the fall. Many states are beginning to have conversations, as is our state, Department of Education, and I know they're meeting with a committee today to review ideas and plans. And as we think about how do we safe and in a healthy way reopen schools in some fashion in the fall, what might that look like? So if you have articles or ideas, please don't hesitate to send them in, and know that we'll be reviewing those. At some point, I'll be trying to put together a collection of what I'm actually reading and reviewing as I think this through and share that with you. So you can also see what I'm looking at and what others in these positions are looking at as we try to make good decisions. In the meantime, until Friday morning, I wish you a safe, happy, and healthy Wednesday and a fabulous North Shore spring week. So until Friday morning, have a great time, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon.